Hi everyone, it's Lynn from Tinker Tarot, and I am here to talk to you a little bit about, something I've been working on. It's not my original theory, but it's something that can be applied to our personal situation, a community situation, and a world situation. And I'm talking about the hero's journey. This is a formula that Joseph Campbell, he's an American writer and a philosopher, and he came up with this formula that he kind of saw this happening in a lot of the Greek mythology tales, and saw it as sort of a formula for their storytelling. What the hero must endure and go through to fulfill a quest that he's been set on. So that's where I want to start today. Oops, sorry about my position here. I'm trying to get a spot where you can see everything. So that's where we're going to start, is the hero. The hero, I have my drumstick today. This is my pointer thing. It's the only thing I have. So the hero is an unlikely person. And that's a lot of us. That's you and me. An unlikely person to didn't think they were a hero, didn't think they had a hero in them, and was submerged into a situation where they have to pull out courage and different parts of themselves to face the challenges. But I get ahead of myself. So the hero, the unlikely person, starts here at the status quo, at home, at rest, comfortable in their daily tasks of living. And all of a sudden, there's a disruption at home. Something that, it's full of the unknown, and there's some sort of disruption that pulls them away from their home, that calls them. It's called the call, the hook that hooks you in. And what happens in the call is you bargain without knowing, without knowing the whole picture, what's going to happen. You make bargains. Um, and you may refuse the call. You might say, no, I'm not the one you're looking for. I'm not that one. You got the wrong idea here. And you might refuse the call, you know, or not want to get involved in something you're not really knowing. And I kind of saw that happening with the COVID when, the disruption at home, and then the call, where we were making bargains without really knowing what was going on. And then you meet the people that help you in on your quest, which is you meet your mentor and the companions, and you and your companions and your mentor are saying, well, we must do something. There must be something that can be done, and it's a part of it is overcoming fear, right? Overcoming fear of this unknown entity that we need to face. And then when we get here, we're crossing the first threshold. And so that is the journey into the unknown, because we accept the bargain. We accept it. Well, we'll have to go into this. And I think that's when we went into the shutdown. But like I said, you can apply this to your personal life. What was going on in your life, in your home, you know? And so there was a journey into the unknown for all of us. Then there's the road of trials. And the road of trials is about the obstacles that we have to face, the tests that we have to take and pass. We have had tests, right? And the enemies and the allies. I found that this past year we were really divided into that. Enemies and allies, That's really all there was. And so those were very real. That was a very real road of trials for us. I think that, took us through the whole summer here and fall as well. And then we have the approach, the inner cave, the meeting with the shadow side. And that is in this road of trials too. The meeting with the shadow side, the meeting with that part of us we don't like so much. A bit of our tiger comes out. And then we might catch ourselves and say, oh my goodness, what was I saying? Who am I? What am I doing? Oh my, right? And so you meet with the goddess or the god that is, as well as your shadow side, you also have your angel and your devil, right? So there's the two sides. So you meet with your goddess or your god at that time as well. And you do the soul searching of and to know what you need to do, what these tests are about, right? What are these tests about? What am I supposed to learn here? What path will I take? The shadow side or the goddess god path? And that's when you pass through the second threshold, and that's the ordeal. In the mythology, those stories, it's a life or death experience, and it could be for you too. But it's a big, big life change, and it's an attempt at a big change. You may not be successful this first time around, but you, this is a big test of where you're going to persevere. You've learned some of these things about yourself, right? You've overcome fear. You've faced the unknown. You've overcome some obstacles and tests, and you've met with both these parts of yourself. These two parts of ourself. And so you're attempting this big change. You've decided who you want to be, right? You're attempting this big change. Surviving that is a reward. And sometimes you get a treasure, and a treasure could be something sentimental. In mythology, they usually get a sword or a cup or something like that. But nowadays, it could be truth or answers that you were looking for, the truth or answers. And I find that in this past year, it's one of the things we have really been looking for, is truth, answers. I'd like to know. And as far as who's holding all the treasure anyway, when so many people are suffering and we're all in this together, we're all equal. In the wheel, we're all equal. And right now we're living in this world, right? And there's two parts to this world, isn't there? There's the ordinary world with the ordinary people. And the ordinary people, they obey the laws and they're part of the system, right? And then there's the special world with the special people. And those special people, they see themselves as above the law. And they're the ones that make the system, create the system. They don't have to be a part of it or work within it. They just say how it's going to be, right? And so there's these two worlds. And so when we get to this reward, this is what we want to know. Like, is it just me or is this for everybody? So then we come to the flight where we may flee pursued by the enemy and have to face some consequences out of this ordeal. It's not all about the reward. There's consequences as well. So, And you can apply this to many stories, because usually when we're going through a hero journey, a journey of self-discovery, and not just self-discovery, of discovery of the world we're in, you know, the system we're in is what we're discovering here and in this past world, or year, I mean, haven't we? So there's the rededication to the quest. This is the third threshold. This is saying we can't give up now. You know, we know that we got to come back and we got to fight. Now, I don't mean fight like what was going on at the Capitol. I don't mean harming people, destroying property, anything like that. But, you know, how do you fight the oppressor? How do you stand up against the oppressor? And so that's what part of the rededication is how are we going to do this? So this is when you arise transformed, and capable of fulfilling the quest. Because the part of the rising is, you realize you have these two sides. Sometimes we have to use both these sides in to fulfill the quest, right? You know, and in the final test, the hero must use all that he or she has learned thus far, which implies mastery. Okay? So we've gone through this whole cycle, and the resolution is to use what we've learned thus far, all that we learned, not just some of what we learned, all that what we have learned thus far about the system we're in, the lifestyle we're in, the situation we're in, whatever it is. And this, these people and these tests and this self-discovery, the questions and the answers, are all part of what you've learned, right? To get to this resolution, to get to this mastery, and for the final outcome. You know what the final outcome is? A new status quo, a new normal. Take that line right out of there. Take that line right out of there, and there's no special, and there's no ordinary. There's a world where all people matter. People matter. And so this is, I think, the new status quo that we are shooting for. We're trying to get to, that no one is above the system they create. But it seems to be the way nowadays. So there's a lot of cogs, eh? There's a lot of little spots on the road, on the journey. These are all cogs in the system. And some of them aren't working. They're just not, they just don't fit anymore. They're from 100 years ago, that cog, right? It doesn't fit. And you wouldn't believe it, but we are still practicing laws and traditions from over 100 years ago, even though our world is so different now. It's inclusive now. We have an inclusive world. And like I said, on the medicine wheel, everyone is equal. Everyone is equal. We are all equal. We're all the same. We all have two arms and two legs and one head. We and that's about where the ordinary and special. It's a world with people. people matter. Anyway, I hope I didn't talk too fast. Sometimes I can really talk fast. If you want to see, it was Joseph Campbell that came up with the original. People have added things here and there, but it's the basic formula. And this was applied to old stories, but I can see it happening in our present story now. So if we can kind of see what's coming, what's up ahead, maybe we can start planning for it. Maybe we can start preparing for it. The rededication. The rededication. So, I'd love to hear what you think about what I presented here. And subscribe, share, like, uh, all that good stuff. Anyway, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Oh, and happy 221. Bye now.